Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Talk Facts, available on Spotify, link below, as well as with you guys here on YouTube. Now today's episode is a brilliant episode featuring the one and only T, somebody who has a lot of experience with parrots and with animals in general. We talk about some of the TikTokers who really do not look after their animals, some of them that do, and just general chat about animal welfare. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. So
I'm T. You probably know me or may not know me from TikTok as TeesFlock, and I advocate for all different kinds of animals, especially parrot care and parrots.
And how long have you had birds and been keeping them and stuff?
So I've actually had birds for quite a long time. My grandfather used to fan rear birds and sell them. So from a very young age, I've always been able to fan rear like baby chicks. So I've probably got about like 20 years experience.
You must have had a lot of birds yourself, have you?
Yeah, so I've worked for like different sort of rescues, helping out, fostering, you know, driving up and down, picking them up. Yeah, just sort of helping out. That's
cool. And so how did you get onto TikTok then? Did you just decide to bring your birds over on, or?
Well, originally, I was staying at Camp Beagle, which was a protest camp in Cambridge. So I found that TikTok was really helpful to spread the message about what was going on to like the Beagle puppies in animal testing. So I gained a lot of my following through that. And then I done a lot of stuff with, do you remember when Marshall Millions got shot by the Met Police?
Is that the dog? Is that the two dogs?
Yeah. So I went to a few like protests around that, and you know, I got a bit of following from that, and some of my videos went a bit viral from that.
I thought I would just take a minute to jump in and explain exactly who T's talking about, and this is those beautiful dogs there. Now, Marshall and Millions were a pair of dogs that belonged to Louis Turnbull, an unhoused man living in London. Now, Marshall was 3 years old and Millions was just 9 months old. The dogs were gunned down by London police just moments after a woman claimed that the dogs had attacked her and had, obviously you can see the dogs,
him to come back. The situation.
Now, one dog seems to be on the ground immediately. Now, there is a dog moving towards the
seemingly
officers.
Became heated.
However, the dog doesn't seem like it's making any contact with them, just sort of running.
The man was tasered to the floor while the animals,
you see,
were shot dead.
In a statement,
that dog just looked like it was jumping in the air in pain, not even attacking. So obviously that led to a lot of protests about the use of force and whether it was reasonable, and I assume that's the sort of thing that led T to obviously make the next videos that I'm going to pop on the screen.
Cuddle, look, Marshall, yeah, a million, look, yeah, look. How old's Marshall? How old's Marshall? Three. So I mean, wow. Yeah, and they got Minions. How old's Minions? He's only 6 months, wasn't he? Yeah, he's only a baby. 9 months old.
9 months old, yeah, small baby. So you can see there's massive support here today. The dogs, about 100 people gathered.
Don't kill it! Don't kill it!
It was just so disgusting. Like, all I was trying to do was get them back in the boat, and then I was going to come out and speak to the police. But they weren't having it, man. They pulled out all their weapons, and they were intimidating me and the dogs, and all they were doing was trying to like protect me. You know what I mean? I had them on the lead. I was pulling them away, and
they was in danger.
Yeah, like
the police set out to kill them. They set out to kill them.
They murdered them.
They come out to kill them.
They murdered them.
Yeah.
And
they have no respect for life. The Metropolitan Police have no respect for life.
I can't sleep.
As you can see, T was one of those people very passionate about the way Metropolitan Police had decided to handle that situation. let's get back to the pod.
And yeah, and I just thought, well, you know, this can be used as a good platform to spread, you know, awareness and, you know, proper animal care and yada yada yada. So yeah, that's how I got on to doing all my parrots, really.
Yeah. And I suppose, like, as well as the good side of TikTok, obviously they ended up seeing the bad side as well to do with animal care and stuff. But like, who are some of the people who you've seen on TikTok who are good with animal care? People who you like rate?
So I'll start with the good people. So obviously one of my friends, Paul, Birdman Paul, I think he's Lord of the Wings on TikTok.
Right, you ready for this nosy bugger?
Hello.
Hello, what's up, buddy?
Hello.
You alright? How are you? Give you some love. Look at you. Look at this lovely face. Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing?
Hello.
Hello, Flo. Oh, who's this?
Hello.
Hello, Kai. What are you doing? Leave my blinds, you. Hello. So long as you're happy, I'm bloody happy, alright? Oh, you can break it. Break it, replace it. Bloody buggers.
He's a free fly trainer. I free fly one of my
Right, can I just ask, what's free flight? What does that mean, free flight trainer?
So free flight is where you like take them outside and they can just fly, and obviously they'll come back to you. Don't get me wrong, there are obviously risks in doing this.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's a much better life than just shoving them in a cage or, you know, sticking them in your front room. They get to fly, use their wings, and it's more natural.
That's what I've always thought about, like birds like that. Well, any sort of bird like that's kept in a cage, it doesn't seem natural at all. How do you train them? Is it just like treats, like a dog or something, like come back for treats? Or
yeah, so obviously the high sort of fat nuts you sort of save for get my accent.
It's all right. The parrot's just going to steal the show.
Super. So the high and fat nuts basically you save for training and like foraging. So yeah, you kind of just get them motivated. He actually couldn't fly until like a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, he's literally just learned how to fly again, because obviously most of his life has just been in a cage and he's not been able to like build his wing muscles up, or maybe not even been out the cage for very long with his previous owners. So it took me all this time, I think around about 6 months to get him to fly.
Yeah.
Just doing that A to B. So he's got a long way to go yet before he's like free flying.
So Birdman does the believes in this whole free flying stuff as well. I think I've seen him do it, which I've always thought cool, but I didn't know how you like managed to get them back. You know, is there anybody else you want to talk about who you rate?
There is another lady who people probably won't know. She's called Carly. She owns Shelby McCaw, and she's also got Tommy and Loki, which are different macaws. She's another free fly trainer, and she actually works for the World Parrot Trust. Like, I get a lot of advice off Carly. She's really good.
Oh wow.
She is on TikTok.
Now I went to check out this profile, and the top pin video. What an interesting fact.
I know you've been wondering how feathers grow, and this is what they look like when they're brand new. It's so creepy. It looks a little bit weird. They look like spines or some sort of horrendous growth coming out of the bird, but these are pin feathers, and this is what a brand new baby feather looks like when it comes through the skin. It pierces through the skin covered in this sheath, which is made out of keratin, the sort of stuff your nails and hair are made out of. If you notice closer to the skin, it's darker, and that is because there is a blood supply in there producing this feather. And over time, the sheath is broken away by the bird as they preen. They preen that sheath away, starting at the tip, the very top of the feather, and working their way down towards the base of the feather, eventually releasing the entire feather from the sheath. And this can take many, many weeks before the feather is exposed entirely. And that's how every single feather is produced. But obviously, they don't all fall out and regrow at the same time, otherwise a bird wouldn't be able to fly.
Everyone that has parrots, we all just know each other. It's really weird. it's like, oh yeah, we know that parrot. This is that parrot's owner, and it's kind of like a little community.
Yeah. I get that. Like, how many parrots have you got at the moment yourself?
I got 2 galah cockatoos, which are like pink cockatoos, and I've got a little Indian ringneck, and obviously my macaw that you've just seen.
Are they all rescues? Do you know a lot of their history and stuff like that? Or
Yeah. So my big one, my macaw Aries, he was a rehome from a lady who had, I think it was brain cancer. So he got rehomed to me through her. He had 7 owners previously, so he's only 3 as well. Bear in mind, there's a lot of owners in a short space of time, but that is not uncommon. Most parrots do have a lot of owners because people just don't know how to deal with them.
Is that literally what you think it is? Just they don't know how to deal with it, or do you think it's one particular issue or something that they don't know?
I just think, like, because they are wild animals, you know, they're not really truly domesticated. They don't really belong in our homes. Like, if it was up to me and I could click my fingers and say, right, I would never want to see a parrot in someone's living room again and let them just be wild, of course I would. But unfortunately, they wouldn't survive in captivity now. So yeah, people just don't understand like their behavior. They see all these cute videos online of them talking, and they go, oh, I want to get that, and then they don't look up breeders, or they go in a pet shop, which pet shops are notoriously known for being quite bad in selling birds. You know, they have their wings clipped, they're not disease tested. There's loads. We could just deep dive on this so much.
Yeah, honestly, like some of the stuff I watch, I was watching something about it recently, actually, that I mean, it's horrific. That obviously we know who SeaWorld is, and we know they are horrible. Well, you know, that's my opinion. They're vile. Blackfish and the sort of documentaries like that really changed my, well, not changed my opinion, but highlighted all that sort of stuff. Well, they actually own a thing of stores that are literally like in shopping malls where they do like, it's like hands-on with the animals. And they have all these little parrots, I don't know what kind of parrots they are, in an aviary. But they have so many of them, and they allow people to just walk into the aviary, that some of these animals are stepped on and killed. There's all sorts of like animal cruelty cases, but they've branded themselves as a different name, do you know what I mean? And I think like, I you know, it's, I mean, I've got like hamster cage behind me that's 6 foot long or whatever and stuff like that. It's like every animal people forget have been taken out the wild. Like, people don't realise a hamster will travel miles during the night. You know what I mean? And everyone thinks that a small cage is comfortable. I'm going to say I could go on a rant. And so, like me, you must see people on TikTok. You must see people on TikTok who do not care for their animals well, and it must be, well, triggers me. So I know the answer to this question, but who comes straight to the top of your mind when you think of somebody who doesn't look after their bird?
Well, of course, it's Liam straight away. Yeah, he would be the top of my list.
Yeah.
Of what I've TikTok.
How long ago is it since you came to know about him and stuff like that? Obviously, I was looking into Liam for a potential deep dive, and I'm not saying it won't happen, but when I was searching around and having a look, obviously I'd seen one of your videos where you were addressing some of the conditions and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of you might know the Lee Smith we're talking about, and as you can see with these pictures here, Misty the African Grey does not live in the best conditions while being cared for by him. But also, there's some shocking things that have been all over social media about him, and I think it's only right that I show you a video that T did herself highlighting some of these issues before we move on in the podcast and talk about the way he looks after that poor bird.
I mean, everyone is suing us about, I see about extra-life bullies getting put down to sleep for no reason. I mean, if they can put them dogs to sleep and they hurt children and people, why don't you put predators down too? Because they hurt children the same way. So
listen to me, okay? So you're under arrest for 2 counts of malicious communications because of an allegation that's been made about your behaviour online, alright? You're also under arrest on suspicion of 1 count of section 127 of the Peace Communications Act, alright?
For what? Why am I being arrested for what? We're exactly arrested for what?
Let us get these on and explain it to you properly.
Why am I arrested for exactly what? Exactly. I have done nothing, you know what I mean?
So these are going to be double locked, okay? That's to stop them from tightening up on yourself, alright?
Okay.
Don't you ever resist them.
Arrested for what?
Right, Liam, listen.
Arrested for what?
Listen to me and I'll explain it to you.
You coming in, fucking blasting in here, you fucking freak.
Are you going to listen? So you're under
fucking coming
arrest.
in. I'm going to come in nicely. You just want to fucking restrain me like you fucking idiot.
You got any shoes you want to take with you or not?
You're coming in like this, you fucking idiots.
Liam, listen. So it's 2 counts of malicious communications and 1 count of
What the fuck is that?
Communications Act, alright?
What
You
the
do not
fuck
say
is that?
to make harm your defence if you do not mention on questions of which later rely on.
So yeah, definitely somebody who is, well, questionable. But anyway, let's continue and allow T to explain a little bit more about he was brought to her attention.
And they said, oh, have you seen this guy who's got this African grey? And I was just like, oh no, I'll take a look. And then I was like jumping in and out of his lives a couple of times. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? And what shocked me the most was actually the comments.
Mm-hmm.
The people like, give the parrot some pizza, give the parrot a chip. And it's like, these people don't really have a clue and almost like enabling animal neglect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because anybody in their right mind, it's like going back to hamsters. But there was a friend of mine who said to me, "Oh, I always give my hamster a bit of cheese." I went, "Why the hell are you giving a hamster a cheese?" "Oh, well, it likes it." I went, "No, it's not natural." I said, "If they don't find it in the wild and eat it, then it's not what they would normally have to eat." Do you know what I mean? It's the same with like cooked pizzas and different things like that. Now, there's lots of examples of Liam feeding Misty things that you shouldn't. You can see Misty, those of you listening on YouTube, on Liam's shoulder there. He is tucking into a very greasy pizza, judging by the grease marks on that pizza box. And up top, Misty sitting on his shoulder eating pizza. Now, it's absolutely horrendous. You can read some of the comments that are just, yeah, it's enabling sort of comments. And a comment just went past there. We do talk about it later in the podcast, saying Misty also drinks Red Bull, is fed Red Bull. I mean, this, no matter how you frame it, is not the right thing to be doing for that bird. If the food is not found in the wild, if it's not their natural food, they shouldn't be eating it. Birds can get liver problems because of their digestion. They can have problems with their crop around their neck. I mean, it's just beyond bad care for an animal. But you can always tell me in the comments what you think, guys, but this disgusts me. And this person here, be nice, people. People are pointing out that this is wrong. Stop enabling it, Angie.
I also say that about, like, people often give their parrots, like, chicken bones, fish, and, like, they don't get none of that in the wild. Like, you do not see a macaw swoop down, grab a chicken, and go, all right then, love, let's put it on the barbie, you know.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
they do that in the wild.
What do they eat
so,
in the
yeah,
wild? Like an African grey, what would an African grey be eating in the wild? What would you be trying to replicate to feed?
So, just, like, nuts, seeds, they might even have, like, insects or grubs. It's like an animal-based protein.
Yeah.
You get like fruits and stuff from the trees. You know, they grow in the farm crops.
I don't understand.
So yeah, they definitely eat pizza.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't understand why people ask him to do that. It's almost like, I don't know, is it entertainment to these people or something? I don't understand it. Because it's the same people, and I've seen in clips where they've like sent him money for food, for a takeout, for him to eat. Fair enough, do what you want with your money in that front. But then the same people are going, oh, make sure to give Misty some. And it's like, Misty doesn't want to take out. She wants some fresh fruit or some bits and bobs. What else really stands out to you about, you know, the way he cares for the animal?
So, you know, straight off the back, it's going to be the environment. It's not the cleanest. I mean, I'm not judging how people live. But, you know, there's lots of feces hanging around, and he's also smokes around the bird. So, yeah, it's just not good. Their respiratory systems are so fragile.
Right.
And as you'll probably see with the document drive I sent you, she's already, to me, showing signs of some sort of crop or respiratory infection, without really taking her to an avian vet.
And what are those signs that you are seeing? What are you seeing?
When he's been on live with her, the parrot sort of like puts her neck up open and closes her beak. And I've seen a lot of comments. People will say, "Oh, she's trying to breathe," or "She needs a drink, Liam." But that's not
mouth breathing. Mouth breathing.
Yeah, like you'll in the video I send you, you'll see. So birds have a crop like here, the same as chickens. And of course, her eating that really bad diet for all those years is probably going to contribute to some sort of crop infection, I can imagine, which if is left untreated, she will unfortunately pass away.
Can they get canker? Which, for those of you who are watching who don't know, canker is like an infection of a bird's mouth and throat and stuff. Can they get canker? No?
I'm not 100% on that.
Right, okay, well, I know more about wild birds like pigeons and stuff like that. It might not be something that tropical birds get. But their crop is obviously, I know what their crop is, obviously from down their throat where they digest their food and help with their food. And any problems with their crop can be like a death sentence, really, because they'll just start starving as well. And do you think his African grey is smaller than it should be?
If anything, I actually think it's overweight.
Right, okay. How can you tell that? Like,
she just looks really chubby to me. For a comparison, okay, on TikTok there's an African grey called Cruz the African Grey. I'm not sure if you've ever come across Cruz.
Okay.
If you compare him to Misty, he is probably what and you would expect an African grey to look like. Eyes. Yeah, I'd say she's a bit overweight. I mean, if you're eating pizza and burgers, you're going to be, aren't you?
Well, yes. Shots fired at me there. Do you know what I mean? Bloody hell. Have you ever seen Liam feed Misty what you think is good food for a bird?
Oh, how long have I been keeping an eye on this guy now? I think it's probably around a month. I've not once seen him personally. I've not once seen him feed her anything she's supposed to be fed.
I mean,
I've even seen him pour an energy drink into her bowl and give her energy drink to drink.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that is insane. I don't understand why anybody would do that to an animal, full stop. It's just not the right thing to do on so many different levels. And when you were talking about, obviously, the condition of his house, you know, it's not a healthy environment for Liam, and it's definitely not a healthy environment for the bird. I know things have changed, but we're talking about what I've seen. And just anybody with a brain knows that living in a house covered in feces is not going to be healthy. Do you know what I mean? Not going to be healthy at all. Does Misty go outside at all, or go anywhere like that?
No, not that I know of.
And she just flies around his because I've seen his cage, or I've seen Misty's cage.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, her cage is pretty big. And obviously she's not in the cage an awful lot. So, like, to be fair, like, she's out of her cage. But as far as I'm aware as well, is like she's got no toys. I've ever seen her, on top of his door, and then she's like chewing the wall or chewing the top of the door, which obviously I think very good for mental stimulation.
So I just wanted to break away and react to some of the clips that Tess sent me of Misty looking like she's describing her there, looking sort of lost, looking for food, bored. Let's have a look at some of them. So you can obviously see Misty on the top of the door there where she's often seen chewing, and you can see those marks right there. We can also see his feces running down the door in several places. And I think the door's more feces than wood, if I'm honest with you. This is actually classical behaviour traits of a bird looking for food and water. And definitely doesn't look comfortable, keeps going between both shoulders, scouting and looking about. there's lots of clips like this, because that bird is only fed if it sits on Liam's shoulder while he's eating a takeaway. No, I would imagine birds like that, like most animals, like us humans, need a lot of enrichment and stuff like that. And
yeah, of course they do.
And that's insane. Like, and I've seen the cage, and I know he doesn't have the bird in the cage a lot, but the cage is literally covered in feces, like we said before. I'm loving this bird. Is absolutely stealing the show. Absolutely stealing the show.
I had my hair extensions put in 3 times this week because he rips them out of my hair.
Why does he not like them? Do you know?
It's because they've got like little beads. It's like a weft, it's a little bead. So he like picks the beads, but like he doesn't realise when he's doing that, he actually rips my hair out. I'm gonna have no hair left.
No, probably not.
I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of like parrot-proof hat.
There'd probably be a market for it, that's for sure. Like, do you have? This is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm sure there's people listening and watching who don't know a lot about parrots and things like that. Do you like toilet train, potty train a bird? Like, how does that work?
You can do, but I don't with mine.
No, like, because
no.
It would seem that obviously if Misty is able to just fly around wherever she wants and obviously make mess wherever she wants, it's the fact that it's not being managed and cleaned up afterwards and stuff like that.
Yeah. What
are the other things that you've seen with Misty that you're concerned about as somebody who watches as an animal lover?
I'd probably say the final thing is she doesn't get, the right amount of sleep. Like, they need a minimum of like 12 hours. It's going to contribute to their behaviour, their, the mental well-being. So yeah, she doesn't get her 12 hours sleep. She's always, up on live stream with him. 2, 3 in the morning, even later than that.
This sounds ridiculous, but how do you give a bird a bedtime? Like, have you got like blankets? What are we doing? How do you put your parrots to bed?
Most people who do own them, like me and Paul and everyone else, that we kind of have like a bird room, so it's like a whole bird room dedicated for the birds. Blackout blinds, there's bed. And, my bird room's in the complete opposite end of where everyone is, with blackout blinds. They go to bed, and it's all hunky dory. Like I think my birds at the minute get around like 14 hours instead at the minute, just because kind of helps with like overall behaviour problems, just giving them that of hours. So yeah. Oh, and another thing is, someone that I know who used to be quite good friends with Liam said that Misty used to talk like a lot, and she doesn't talk. I know how intelligent African greys are. Really intelligent. They're known for their mimicking abilities, African greys. So the fact that she stopped talking, for me, and you can ask any other person who knows parrots and gives them a good life and stuff, will say the same. She's gone into herself quite a lot. She's gone a bit withdrawn. If a parrot's talking a lot and then it stops talking a lot, it can often mean they've just gone a bit withdrawn and a bit depressed. Because parrots won't show their illnesses in the wild, so it's really hard to tell when these guys are actually ill until it's too late.
Like rabbits and stuff, obviously, some have a lot of experience with like
prey animals. Yes. So yeah, people will mistake her for being well, but really everything's going to be going on the inside. Like, my main concern would be obviously her liver is probably not great. You see a lot of this when birds come into rescue. They've got like liver problems or liver failure. They often have like calcium deficiencies because people don't know they should give them calcium in their diet. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, really. Yeah. And it is due to lack of education. Like, people just don't really know about them a lot.
Yeah, it seems to be the way with a lot of animals as well. I never understand somebody who gets an animal and doesn't educate themselves on that animal, watch every YouTube video they can, do every bit of research, you know what I mean? So obviously Liam's living situation has changed. and he's now
Yeah.
in some sort of adult care home or something. I'm not 100% sure. Do you know more?
Yeah, some sort of like supported living for people with mental health, I think.
Which, I mean, clearly he needs in some respect, you know what I mean? I would hope
Yeah.
that they're not just giving it to anybody, which I'm sure they're not. And obviously Misty's been allowed to join him. Do we know, is there rules about it or anything like that?
In all honesty, I really couldn't tell you. I would hope that obviously he has got some sort of care plan, and maybe there's some sort of care plan for Misty as well. But I'm not sure if they would take her to an avian vet, what the policy is around that. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Let's hope they do.
Well, yeah, let's hope so. And I mean, I want to talk a little bit about the RSPCA visit, which I think is one of the most frustrating things that people have seen recently. Now, when Liam was still in his house that we've been discussing, the RSPCA made a sort of a welfare check on Misty.
She's okay, she looks absolutely
Yeah, you know, as a birds are very easy to get, aren't they?
Yes, they are, yeah. She's not doing anything that I'm thinking, oh no.
And also, she won't be sitting there, if she was scared as well, like, she'd be flying other places.
Yeah, she just
you're good.
doing her own
Like, you know.
thing.
Because, I mean, all my places are good environment, I mean, but she still put birds, I make sure not to eat anything, but people are just judgmental, and you know what.
Yeah, I think you're going in a really good direction. You're gonna have a good time by the sounds of it. This new place sounds pretty good.
And I'll pop out and see you before you go.
Sure. I mean, I don't think you got anyone. I mean, I think you've got cleaners there, but only when people leave, or don't mind paying, even if they don't mind being anyone.
I think that obviously, I think a lot of the time, I think people expect the RSPCA to have a little bit more power than they do. But I was still personally shocked that there wasn't at least, you know, some sort of offer to take the bird to an avian vet, like you said, maybe have a health check and stuff like that. I mean, how did you feel when you saw the clip of all that?
Obviously very frustrated. Like I said a minute ago, you can't determine the health of a bird just by looking at it, because yes, and she does look like there's nothing wrong with her. Obviously she needs to go and have full blood works done to be able to see what's going on, you know, with her liver and stuff. Frustrating. They can't do a lot of things. I've obviously worked in undercover situations before with like backyard dog breeders, and you know, a lot of the time it's actually been the police that remove the animals and put them into rescue rather than the RSPCA. I
like that you just skin past, like, oh well, obviously I've been undercover in dog breeding, etc. Like, how can I not go into that on the podcast? Like, can you talk a bit about that? I'm very interested. Now, before she starts telling us all about that sort of stuff, I'm just going to show you some clips that she has on her TikTok around this sort of stuff. It's insane, man. The level of awareness that she brings over these sort of causes is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so obviously I don't work for that organisation anymore. I actually founded this organisation with two other women. It was called Exposing Cruelty. So what we would do would be quite similar to what the RSPCA would do. So like we would go out, build cases, get like basically do the hard work for them, and then we would present it to the RSPCA. Sometimes we could even just bypass the RSPCA and go straight to the police.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I've done all sorts of stuff. It's mostly been like farm animals, and you know, like the hounds that they use for fox hunting.
Ugh.
We've been doing like do lots of stuff with that.
I would imagine that, like, I'm against fox hunting. There's a thing that happens on my Twitch. On Twitch, we live react to predator stings, you know, where the hunting teams turn up at the doors and that. And I've said that we'll sort the fox hunting problem out by replacing the fox with one of them. We'll strap a GoPro onto them and get it on Netflix. Everybody would love that. But of course, ignorantly, I suppose, like, I would imagine that the dogs are obviously treated horrific to be given the kill drive to do what they're doing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, 100%. We've actually got a kennel quite close to me, and you know, they're just literally left outside in kennels. They're thrown carcasses. You know, they've all got to just sort of survive on the carcass. They're not in a good state, you know, because they're going in like the bramble bushes. They've got cuts on them, and they're just left. There's been a time where one of my friends who is on the Hunt Sabs team has just found one of the dogs just left in a pit, and they've gone packed up, and they just left it. They treat the hounds probably just as bad as they treat the wildlife, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, they'll say that they love their hounds and they love their horses, but they're just as replaceable as the wildlife.
Well, I saw a clip on TikTok. If I find it, I'll be inserting it here. But there was a clip on TikTok where there was a hunter or whatever, and he's on his horse, and he's galloping out of his thing, and he falls off the horse. I don't know what went on. He just sort of slipped like that, almost like slapstickish, off the horse. But and then, you know, I was like, oh, brilliant! I like to see them fall on the backside, you know. And then I looked in the comments, being nosy, and one of the top comments says, he clearly hit that horse. And I was like, did he? And I looked back, and of course, he falls off, so the camera's sort of behind the horse. So you're looking like camera, horse, him. So when he gets up, you don't really see part of his body, but what you do see is the horse's muscle at the top react to being hit. And I was like, I can't believe. So he's fell off the horse because, well, it's shit, obviously, and he gets up and immediately wallops the horse. And I was like, and he didn't have like anything in his hand to hit. It was he gave it a dig basically.
Yeah.
And I just think the subhuman scum, and I don't care. I don't care who knows it. I can't stand stuff like that. So yeah, I'm assuming when you did this, you had like a bit of a checklist of what the police would need to act. Was that it? And you were trying to gather that?
Yeah, well, you know, it's literally laid out in black and white, isn't it? The Animal Welfare Act. If people aren't going to comply with any of that, you know, not got a leg to stand on. Especially, you know, backyard breeders, which was one of our main sort of areas. And obviously, we used to do stuff with vivisection. Obviously, vivisections are a lot harder to get changed because obviously you're then talking on like a government scale. Then, you know, going to Parliament.
I'm completely ignorant to it. What is that? Tell me everything.
So vivisection is like animal testing, which obviously it still happens in this country as well. People don't know that. You know, everyone thinks it got banned years ago with cosmetics and all, but it still goes on. There's a huge beagle breeding facility in Cambridge. They've got about 2,000 beagle puppies there.
Now, T has also done some awareness around this facility, and I'm going to share some of the videos that she's done with you right now, before she then goes on to explain exactly what happens down there. Unbelievable that it actually happens.
Guys, just back outside Safari again, and the guys who are painted in type.
Why do they use
and they breed them.
beagles? Why beagles?
Well, when they're so forgiving, aren't they, and loving and docile. Like you couldn't, pour chemicals down a Rottweiler's throat, could you?
Yeah,
it would
but
take
you
your
know
hands
who
off.
you know who you know who you could, which are once again, there's plenty of people who touch kids, plenty of them in, you know what I mean, plenty of them in jails. Get a bit of, you want testing, you want to test it, and I never understand, right? You obviously are a lot more educated than me on this, but I never understand that somebody who's going to torture an animal to see whether a particular makeup product is okay. Like, I don't understand how you justify needing a makeup product over torturing an animal. I don't get it. I know there are other things, but that's like an example. Have you made any sort of progress against these beagle farms or anything like that?
It's not, as I said, it's literally on a government scale. I mean, the protest camp that I was at is still going today.
Right.
There's probably about 2 or 3 people there now, but when I was there like a couple of years ago, we were like flooding the road. The workers couldn't get in and out. Police were there. It was crazy. There was a group called Animal Rising, which this is known to be public, actually broke in and liberated some beagles. You can see all the footage. There's even a video on my page.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just been gone on for so long. It's just crazy. It's a crazy situation.
I don't get it. Like I never understand it. I never understand it. I mean, I want to try and pull you back onto TikTok now. But
back to the Parrot.
No, I mean, I don't. This is the point of this. It's a conversation. I knew we were going to have a lot of common interests when it came to animal care and stuff like that. So it's interesting to talk. Now, you mentioned another creator on TikTok very briefly, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about this. So her account name is, the name's Luna or something. I don't know. I might have that wrong. But anyway, I was asked to do a deep dive on her ages ago because she was raising money for some charity and she was making an absolute mess of it. And I said, well, I won't do a deep dive, but I'll do a live discussion. So on YouTube, we did a live discussion. We looked at it, basically, and she was given the option to communicate with me at the same time. So she was messaging me and talking to me, and she just couldn't provide the evidence and the facts that I needed for different things. And I was like, it benefits you, because I can be like, well, she's shown this, and it's, do you know what I mean? It's looking all good. I just saw somebody who was probably a nice person, potentially, I don't know, but, a nice person who was just a bumbling idiot and had no idea what the hell she was doing. But you mentioned something to do with her bird.
Yeah, so I don't know her too well. Obviously didn't know the whole donation thing she had going on. I've only had like a brief encounter with her on a couple of lives. And she mentioned that she leaves a bird at home, up to 2 days, which I was like, whoa, red flags, unfollow, see you later.
Yeah, I
mean,
it's a stupid question, but of course, treat me like I'm an idiot for the purpose of the podcast. It's obviously not a good idea to leave your bird. A bird can't sustain itself for a number of days without care. Is that right? Or?
Well, I mean, it is a bit silly when you think about it. I mean, unless she's got some sort of magic device that changes the water fresh, because I'm constantly changing my guys' water. They're forever getting food in it and poo and God knows what else. So yeah, obviously, your birds are really attached to you, as you can see. They don't leave you alone. So if I was to leave him for 2 days, he'd have a meltdown.
Yeah, he's going to have emotional distress. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like it.
No,
but this is what I mean. Creators. I mean, she's got a big following. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, to say that is not very good. Other people will listen to that and go, "Oh, well, maybe I can leave my Konya at home for 2 days."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It spirals from there, doesn't it?
It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, you've got. I think if as an animal owner, if you bring in that onto social media, you have sort of an onus to know what the hell you're talking about. Like, people ask me stuff about rabbit stuff all the time and things like that, and So far, you know, touch wood, I'm able to answer pretty much everything, give people advice on it. But it's because I've spent a long time researching the animals. I've spent a lot of time dealing with multiple rabbits and all that, so different health conditions, different things coming up, knowing how to do it. And giving people bad advice is, well, it's detrimental, it's dangerous, isn't it? She, there we go. I'm going to say it on this one. She's a liar anyway. It was amazing. One of the best things on the discussion was before, because she knew it was coming out and she started panicking. I'm going to lose my job. But she started panicking and was saying that obviously I was, you know, they all do the same whenever I'm going to discuss somebody, he's a liar, he's this. But she actually said, no, I was threatening her. She said, I had sent her threatening voice messages and voice notes apparently, right? And she made a 10-part video series on TikTok. 10 videos. It was just absolutely insane. And then I just went, all right, okay, we're on YouTube, guys. You can all see my screen. Here's my messages. Let's listen to them all. And I was like, why would you lie about something like that? It's fairly easy. So somebody like that, I don't trust anyway. And if I don't trust them, full stop, I ain't going to trust them when it comes to animal care.
He does do like, I say to him, what does a dinosaur do? And he'll go, rah. But he learned that from his previous owner, so I just kept it on.
That's a little bit of playtime and bonding, isn't it? It's different to being like a performing monkey. Do you know what I mean? Just for stuff like that, which I appreciate. And he's just, honestly, such a beautiful bird. Like, he has kind of stolen the show, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think anybody watching on YouTube will be listening to a goddamn thing we've been saying. They'll just be watching the bird. Look.
Say hello.
Hello.
Are you going to say hello?
Hi. I've never interviewed a parrot before. What do you think about Misty?
What's dinosaur do? Come on then. He's very hormonal at the minute, so he's like, it's that time of year for parrot owners. We're all ripping our hair out.
I love that. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone then, T? It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, goodbye everyone. Thanks for having me, and Aries.
What a great episode of the podcast, and I've got to say, Aries stole the show. What an absolute legend. Don't forget as well, guys, if you click on this box right here, you can go and watch episodes of the podcast you might have missed. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure if you enjoyed it to hit that thumbs up button. And if you watch me all the time, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free. Peace.